What would you do if obeying God meant facing death? What if a single prayer could cost you your life? What if faith did not remove the danger, but required you to walk straight into it? This is not a story about escaping trouble. This is not a story about winning by strength or power. This is the story of a man who chose faithfulness over fear, prayer over silence, and trust over survival. This is the story of Daniel, and the night the lions did not roar. Daniel lived in Babylon, far from his homeland of Judah. Though many years had passed since he had been taken there as a captive, Daniel never allowed exile to change his identity. He belonged to God, and that truth shaped every part of his life. Babylon was a city of power and influence. Its rulers demanded loyalty, its laws were strict, and its culture encouraged compromise. Many people adjusted their beliefs to survive in such a place. Daniel did not. He served faithfully, worked diligently, and lived with integrity. His wisdom and character set him apart from everyone around him. Over time, King Darius noticed Daniel's consistency and trustworthiness. Among all the officials in the kingdom, Daniel stood out as someone who could be relied upon completely. The king planned to place Daniel over the entire kingdom. But favor often attracts jealousy. The other officials watched Daniel closely. Day after day, they searched for a mistake, a weakness, or a reason to accuse him. They examined his decisions, his records, and his leadership. Still, they found nothing. Daniel was honest. Daniel was faithful. Daniel was blameless in his duties. Frustrated, the officials finally admitted the truth. Daniel could not be trapped through corruption or failure. The only way to bring him down was through his devotion to God. They gathered together and formed a plan. With flattering words and hidden intentions, they approached King Darius. They suggested a decree that would elevate the king's authority. For 30 days, they said, no one should pray to any god or any man except the king. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into the lion's den. The idea appealed to the king. Unaware of the trap behind the words, he signed the decree into law. Once signed, it could not be changed. The plan was complete. When Daniel learned of the decree, he immediately understood what it meant. He knew the law. He knew the punishment. He knew that continuing to pray would place his life in danger. Yet Daniel did not argue. He did not hide. He did not adjust his faith to fit the moment. That very day, Daniel went to his home. He opened the windows of his upper room toward Jerusalem, knelt down, and prayed. He prayed as he always had, giving thanks to God and placing his trust in Him. Daniel did not pray to make a statement. He prayed because prayer was who he was. From a distance, the officials watched. They saw Daniel praying and hurried to the king with their accusation. Their plan had succeeded. When King Darius heard the accusation, his heart sank. He immediately realized he had been manipulated. Daniel was not a criminal. He was one of the most faithful men in the kingdom. All day long, the king tried to find a way to save him. He examined the law, searching for a loophole. But the decree could not be changed. As evening approached, the king had no choice. Daniel was brought to the lion's den. Before Daniel was lowered into the pit, the king spoke words filled with fear and hope, saying, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." A stone was rolled over the opening of the den and sealed. The night fell, and Daniel was left alone. The lion's den was deep and dark. The air was heavy, and the sound of hungry lions echoed against the stone walls. Their powerful movements could be felt in the shadows. Yet Daniel remained calm. In the stillness of the night, God's presence filled the den. The lions were restrained. Their strength was silenced. What was meant to be a place of death became a place of protection. While Daniel rested in peace below, King Darius could not sleep above. He refused food. He refused entertainment. His thoughts remained fixed on Daniel as the night slowly passed. At the first light of dawn, the king rushed to the lion's den. His voice trembled as he called out, fearing the worst but hoping for a miracle. Daniel answered. He was alive. The king ordered Daniel to be lifted from the den. When they examined him, they found no injury on his body. The lions had not harmed him. The king then commanded that the men who had falsely accused Daniel be thrown into the den. This time, the lions acted immediately, showing that Daniel's survival had not been luck or chance, but the result of God's protection. King Darius sent a message throughout the kingdom declaring the greatness of Daniel's God. He proclaimed that this God is living and eternal, a God who rescues and saves, whose power has no end. Daniel continued to prosper, and his faith became known across the land. His life stood as proof that obedience to God is never wasted, even when it comes at great cost. Daniel's story teaches us that faithfulness does not always keep us from danger. Sometimes it leads us directly into it. But God's presence does not stop where fear begins. The lion's den was meant to silence Daniel. Instead, it revealed the power of unwavering faith. And that same God remains faithful today. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more from God's Word, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can join us for every new story.